All right, let's get right into it. We're going to be looking at a really deep moral question that's playing out as we speak, right where artificial intelligence and warfare meet. And it's a story about a decision today that, really echoes a powerful moment of conscience from more than 50 years ago.
So to really get what's happening now, we've got to go back, way back to 1967. The heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali, is standing in front of the draft board, and he says these simple, incredibly powerful words. It was a sentence that would cost him almost everything. A refusal that wasn't about strategy, it was about conscience.
And then, bam, fast forward to today, and you can hear that echo. History is repeating itself, but in a totally new and fascinating way. A champion's refusal back then is now being mirrored by a tech company's refusal in the present. I mean, the stage is different, the players have changed, but that central question, the one about conscience, it's exactly the same. What's just so wild about Ali's stand is the sheer scale of what he gave up. He's 25 years old, he's at the absolute top of his game. And his refusal wasn't some quiet little protest. This was a massive public statement with huge, life-changing consequences. Just think about this for a second. They stripped him of his world title, he was banned from boxing for 3 years, right in his prime, and on top of all that, he was facing years in prison. This wasn't some calculated career move, this was a moral line in the sand that he just would not cross no matter what it cost him personally.
Okay, so let's jump back to today, because that same kind of moral line is being drawn all over again, but this time, it's in the world of code. We're seeing another refusal, but it's coming from a leading AI company, Anthropic. They've actually refused requests to remove what they call safety guardrails from their AI systems for military use. And Anthropic's reason? Well, it isn't about politics or making more money. It's a fundamental judgment call on responsibility. Their argument is pretty straightforward. In AI that is known to hallucinate, where it just makes stuff up or completely misreads data, that kind of system simply cannot be trusted with the power of life and death without a human being watching over its shoulder. They say the first casualty of any war is the truth. And right now, the story being told about AI in conflict is that it's this perfect weapon. It's more precise, more rational, totally free of messy human emotions. But here's the thing. That story itself, that's the first lie. And this quote just nails it. It gets right to the absolute heart of the matter. The real problem isn't that an AI might get angry or scared. The problem is that for the AI, there is no after. There is no moral hangover. There are literally zero consequences. Let's break this down a bit. A human soldier, they carry the weight of their actions. The psychological trauma, something like PTSD, is an awful, awful burden. But it's also proof that their conscience is working. It's a human firewall reacting to what it's seen and done. Now, for an AI, a fatal mistake is just a system error. The machine learns, it adjusts, but it never, ever feels the weight of what was lost. So what's the really crucial point here? It's what are we teaching these systems? If we train an AI to make lethal decisions without any moral or psychological price to pay, we are baking a truly horrifying lesson into its core logic, that human life can be boiled down to just another variable in an equation. Now, you might hear some people argue, well, war is brutal, so why even bother with these safeguards? But that misses the entire point of centuries of human progress. We have to start looking at these AI guardrails not as a weakness, but as a crucial civilizational boundary. This is just such a powerful way to think about it. The rules of war, like the Geneva Conventions, they weren't created to make wars somehow nice. They were created because humanity learned the hard way that when violence has no limits, it eventually consumes everyone, including the people who unleashed it. These AI safety features, they're the digital version of that same hard-won wisdom. The techie term for this critical safeguard is human in the loop. It's actually a really simple idea. No matter how smart the system gets, a human being has to be there to make that final, critical call before any lethal action is taken. But let's stop thinking about this as just some technical feature. It's not an optional extra you can just toggle on or off. This is our last moral firewall. It is the final check, that one moment where human conscience, human responsibility, and human accountability stand between an algorithm's cold calculation and a real-world irreversible consequence. So all of this brings us to the future, because the choices we're making right now in this really brief period of time, they are going to leave a massive legacy. We are, right now, actively programming the morality of the intelligence that's going to define the next 100 years. And if we take away that human firewall, just look at the lessons we are feeding these unbelievably powerful learning systems. We're teaching them that killing can be an act without consequence. We're teaching them that a person's life can be decided by an algorithm. And we're teaching them that catastrophic mistakes can just be wiped away as system errors, with no one held accountable.
And when you boil it all down to its absolute core, we risk teaching the most powerful tool humanity has ever created, a truly chilling lesson that life, fundamentally, is not something to be cherished.
So it all leaves us with this ultimate question. In the end, AI is going to become a mirror. It's going to reflect the civilization that built it. Everything we value, everything we care about, it will reflect it back at us perfectly. So, what kind of mirror are we building? Right here, right now.
In the end, both Muhammad Ali and Anthropic said no. But that refusal, it isn't an ending. It's a signal. It's a signal fire for all of us. A call to pay attention, reminding us that this conversation matters deeply. The wars, they will eventually end, but the lessons we encode into our Silicon Sentinels today, those will be with us for a very, very long time.